The biggest scandal in the world of show business occurred in the United States. The arrest of Sean P. Diddy Combs. Who would have thought that a person who achieved colossal success in his career in business would be involved in such serious allegations? This news shocked everyone, from his fans to his colleagues in the industry. My name is Knox, and today I will tell you what happened, why he was arrested, what crimes he is being charged with, and how this will affect his future life and career. And at the end, you will find out why this case has shaken the entire music industry. To understand the scale of the events, let's start with who P. Diddy is. He is not just a well-known artist. He is a person whose name has become synonymous with success in the world of hip-hop and business. Sean P. Diddy Combs, a figure who has defined the development of the music industry since the late 90s. As a producer, he helped stars like the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and many others become international superstars. His label, Bad Boy Records, became a true legend, with albums released under it selling in the millions. However, P. Diddy did not limit himself to just music. He successfully developed a business in the fashion industry by launching his own clothing brand, Sean John, which brought him not only huge profits but also recognition in the fashion world. In 2004, Diddy received an award from the Council of Fashion Designers of America for his contribution to the development of men's fashion. Moreover, Combs also found success in the alcoholic beverage industry. His collaboration with Ciroc Vodka became incredibly profitable, and the brand quickly became one of the most popular in the world. Yet, behind his success, there was always something dark lurking. For many years, there have been rumors about his involvement in violence, cunning manipulation, and even his connection to the death of his friend and colleague, the Notorious B.I.G. These rumors were not officially confirmed, but the arrest in 2024 shed light on the dark side of Combs' life. Despite his influence and status, P. Diddy has always been surrounded by scandals. One of the first high-profile incidents occurred in 1999 at a nightclub in New York City. That evening, a shooting broke out, resulting in several fatalities. Sean P. Diddy Combs, his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and rapper Shyne were at the crime scene. Diddy and Lopez were arrested, but ultimately Sean P. Diddy Combs was acquitted, while Shyne was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This case became the first major scandal in which Diddy found himself at the center of a criminal case, although he avoided punishment. Later, in the 2000s, Sean P. Diddy Combs continued to attract media attention not only for his musical successes but also for new scandals. In 2001, he was arrested again for assaulting a well-known producer, but the case did not go to court at that time. Episodes of fights, allegations of harassment, and violence became his constant companions. But each of these cases ended with Diddy avoiding punishment by using his resources and influence. There began to be a perception in society that his wealth and connections helped him evade justice, which made each new scandal even more sensational. And now, after years, he has been faced with serious charges that could drastically change his life. One of the most shocking parts of the allegations involved so-called freak-offs, secret parties organized by Diddy where orgies occurred under the influence of drugs. These events were held in expensive hotels or at his private villas, where invited guests were compelled to participate in all the debauchery that took place there. According to witnesses, such parties were often accompanied by violence, and participants were offered drugs in large quantities. The essence of the allegations is that Diddy not only organized these parties but also used them as a tool for blackmail. After the events concluded, special personnel maintained records that were then used to monitor the victims. These recordings could ruin the reputations of those involved, especially if they were celebrities, politicians, or influential businessmen. Such blackmail helped Diddy maintain power and control over his victims. The victims were given no choice. They were literally trapped, where every step was monitored. The possibility of seeking help seemed impossible. One of the most shocking details revealed during the investigation is the systematic use of drugs at parties organized by Diddy. Many witnesses claim that drugs such as cocaine and methamphetamine were used in large quantities and played a key role in controlling the guests. Party participants often received drugs directly from close associates known as comps, after which their condition was used for manipulation and the creation of compromising situations. One of the most unusual moments was the use of 4 drips to help participants recover after intense use of illegal substances. These 4 drips contain solutions for restoring electrolyte balance and maintaining health after multi-day parties. Comps provided access to these medical services at the event venues, making his parties not just entertaining but also dangerous to the health of their participants. Thus, an illusory safe context was created, where people could use drugs knowing that they could recover afterward. This allowed the parties to continue for several days in a row. Such methods not only violated laws but also endangered the health and lives of many people. Drugs were used as a means to achieve power and control over guests, while their dependency and vulnerability were exacerbated by the organizer of these events. The system created by Diddy allowed him not only to gain power over people but also to exploit their weaknesses for his personal goals. Let's go! In addition to the exploitation of people, the accusations against Diddy include numerous instances of physical violence. Many victims claim that he used physical pressure and threats to impose his will on them. In some cases, he beat his victims, using threats that their career or life would be ruined if they dared to report what was happening. These actions created an atmosphere of fear and helplessness for those who were involved in his circle. Women who fell under the control of comps were in a state of constant stress and fear. He exploited their vulnerabilities, manipulated their emotions, and convinced them that without his help, they would not be able to succeed or survive in the harsh world of show business. Physical violence was accompanied by psychological manipulation, which caused the victims to become completely dependent on him. Over time, they lost the ability to resist, and their self-esteem was shattered. These women saw no way out of their situation, and their attempts to escape often ended in threats and even greater violence. These episodes occurred over many years, and only after several women decided to speak out publicly did their stories begin to come to light. The investigation is now deepening, and more victims are willing to share their experiences, which only strengthens the accusations against comps. Against the backdrop of such a high-profile scandal, it is not surprising that many of P. Diddy's friends and colleagues chose a strategy of distancing themselves. In the world of show business, reputation plays a key role, and anyone involved in such a scandal risks losing their career. Many artists and business partners who were previously close to comps are now either completely refusing to comment on the situation or publicly condemning his actions. For example, some of his longtime friends and colleagues from the music industry have already stated that they are shocked by the unfolding accusations and believe that such actions deserve strict punishment. Others, on the contrary, sided with Diddy, claiming that this is just another attempt to discredit a successful African-American businessman. Interestingly, among those who continue to defend Diddy are several of his business partners who insist that the accusations are part of a carefully orchestrated campaign to dismantle his empire. However, even these defenders cannot ignore the fact that many of his closest friends and colleagues have begun to distance themselves from him. The public's reaction to P. Diddy's arrest was divided. For many fans, it was a real shock. A person who has been an icon of style and successful business for decades has become involved in such a number of crimes. Numerous discussions have emerged on social media about whether P. Diddy is guilty or if he is being defamed. Users began using the hashtag #SheCancelDiddy and 30 Justice for Victims, calling for a boycott of his music and products associated with his brands. However, there were also those who supported Combs. These people claim that the charges may be fabricated in order to destroy the career of a successful African American who has inspired millions by his example. Some fans believe that the case has a racist nature and compare it to other high-profile cases against black celebrities. Public opinion remains divided, but one thing is certain. This scandal will be a serious test for both Diddy and the entire music industry, where scandals involving influential figures have often been ignored or downplayed. The only question is what the consequences will be for P. Diddy and his entourage. Despite all the accusations, P. Diddy steadfastly maintains his innocence. His legal team has filed several statements denying all charges, claiming that this is an attempt to harm his career and reputation. According to the lawyers, all the charges are fabricated, and they intend to prove this in court. Combs himself stated that he has always respected women and that these accusations are terrible and untrue. According to his lawyers, these accusations are the result of a conspiracy by people who want to profit financially from the destruction of his empire. P. Diddy's defense team has already begun to build their defense strategy based on the claim that the charges are not supported by sufficient evidence, and that all the testimonies from the women speaking against him are allegedly fabricated to extract maximum benefit from the situation. The defense also emphasizes that many of those making accusations against P. Diddy have faced financial difficulties, which, according to the lawyers, could have motivated them to make false statements. And P. Diddy claims that he has always respected his colleagues and partners, and that any allegations of violence have no real basis. The defense also intends to raise questions about possible biases from the investigative authorities and the media. They insist that society often condemns successful black entrepreneurs and that in this case, the charges may be part of a broader campaign to discredit him. On the part of the prosecution, the victims' lawyers are actively working to hold P. Diddy accountable for his long-standing crimes. They claim that the evidence of violence and exploitation of the victims is strong enough to secure a guilty verdict. The lawyers have already gathered numerous testimonies that describe scenes of brutality, psychological pressure, and manipulation. According to them, Sean Combs has used his influence and wealth for many years to hide his crimes and intimidate witnesses. According to the prosecution, the victims now have the opportunity to finally achieve justice, and they will do everything possible to ensure that the guilty party is punished. Furthermore, the lawyers state that the current testimonies are supported by documentary and physical evidence, including surveillance camera footage and medical reports on the injuries of the victims. Many of these pieces of evidence could not be used before for various reasons, but now the lawyers are insisting on their full consideration in court. While the investigation is ongoing, the question of how it will affect P. Diddy's career remains open. Despite his attempts to distance himself from the accusations and maintain his reputation, it is already clear that the scandal is having a huge impact on his business empire. Since the arrest, many of his business partners have already begun to withdraw from collaborating with him. His music projects and other initiatives have been suspended. The brands that P. Diddy has worked with for many years are trying to distance themselves from him in order to preserve their reputation. For example, the companies he collaborated with in the fashion and beverage industries began issuing statements condemning violence and emphasizing that they will not continue to support business relations with Combs. In addition to financial losses, his reputation in the eyes of the public has also suffered significantly. Where he was once an example of a successful artist and entrepreneur, his name is now increasingly associated with violence and exploitation. The scandal surrounding P. Diddy also raises serious questions about the culture of silence in the music industry. Despite numerous cases of violence and harassment, many stars and influential figures continue to evade responsibility. Examples of stars like R. Kelly, who hid his crimes for many years, show that the music industry is often unprepared to confront such cases. The P. Diddy case could become an important precedent that encourages the industry to take issues of artists' rights and safety more seriously. Music labels, production centers, and other organizations may begin to review their internal policies to avoid similar situations in the future. Furthermore, the Combs case may accelerate the processes of creating stricter regulations and protocols within the industry to protect vulnerable employees and artists. The scandal surrounding P. Diddy's arrest is becoming one of the loudest and most significant in the history of the music industry in recent years. Questions about violence, manipulation, and crimes that have been hidden behind the scenes of the entertainment industry for many years have finally begun to come to light. Despite his attempts to assert his innocence, the evidence and testimonies of the victims are becoming increasingly convincing. Whether P. Diddy will be found guilty or not is a matter of time, but it can already be said that this scandal will have a huge impact on his life, career, and the music industry as a whole. In the coming months, it will become clear how serious the consequences of this case will be for P. Diddy and everyone associated with him. What do you think? Will P. Diddy be able to defend himself in court? Personally, I feel that no professional lawyers will be able to help him here. And do you know where else professionals are needed? In our team. Friends, you have the opportunity to join our team. If you have video editing skills, you can voice over videos in Russian, English, and other languages. Or write interesting scripts. We would be happy to work with you. Message us on the Telegram bot. The link is in the description. And thank you for watching.